Yulan True and welcome to another exciting day in our galaxy, and it's time for our next officer. You know that I'm doing videos on every single officer to talk a little bit more in depth about a single officer than with just crews and everything. And I think that that's an important thing for people who just start playing this game. And so I will continue this series with officers from A to Z. And in this case, we are now at B. We did the A ones already, so now we are at B. And the nice thing is, and that's why I didn't do it in the beginning as usual, you can sort here by different kinds and also by name. And I did the lower decks officers in when they were brand new in this game, so I didn't do them again. But now we start with B, and that's Badgey. Badgey was the very first lower decks officer here in this game when they introduced below deck abilities, and they had the lower decks storyline for the very first time. And he's not the best officer, but when you have him as the first one, you will want to use him. Badgey is an uncommon officer. And as usual, let's look at class, group, and faction. He's class science. That means that you need science badges later to upgrade him. He's from the group lower decks. So if you use him on the bridge with somebody else from lower decks that has a captain's ability, he does give synergy. And he's from the faction federation. And that means for upgrading later, you will need federation credits. He appeared on the Cerritos. You will remember Rutherford's training program where Badgey turned really evil and tried kind of to slaughter everyone. But that's a bit the reason why they chose the names for Badgey's officer ability. So no captain ability, of course, because he's got a below deck ability. When someone has a below deck ability, he doesn't have a captain's ability usually. And so that's why it says unfit to lead with a captain's ability. But the two very lower decky names for the other two abilities. The officer ability is We Murder, and that just means Badgey decreases the armor, shield deflection, and dodge of enemy ships by 15%. And that is something that makes Badgey a little more rare, because I talked about this, for example, in my PMC video about that crew. There are not so many officers that decrease abilities of others. Usually officers increase abilities of your own ship. But the officers that do decrease abilities of others are often very helpful. And there's one other thing here with Badgey that even makes him different from other officers that have those decreasing abilities. Because Chen, for example, there says the ability only works for hostiles level 51 and under. You don't see this here with Badgey. So he might even be a help for you if you need this ability for hostiles level 52 and up. I know that you will have completely different and strong officers at that time, but still, in certain cases, that might even be something you might want to test. And he also has, of course, a below deck ability. He's the first lower decks officer we ever had. And that's, haha, you're going to die. And Badgey increases armor penetration, shield penetration, accuracy by 30%. 30%, you see it in green, because my Badgey is only level 15. He's not so easy to get, and he's not so easy to upgrade to get the shards to do that. I'll go to that in a second. But first, I want to complete this here with the thing with the away team traits. He's an uncommon officer, so he only has one away team trait. He is deceptive, and that is not a very common one either. So you might want to use him on away team assignments as well, if you can manage to get him a little bit stronger, because on level 15 he's not that strong for the normal percentage you need. But the deceptive part can be very helpful for the critical successes of away teams. So you might want to have a look at that one. I'm still thinking about if in the next event I will just max him, so I have the option to use him when I need him. But I will see. But as I said, it's not that easy to get him. I got him in the first Lower Decks arc when these officers came out. But since then, you usually, sometimes you have the chance to get him via events. But he's, for example, not in the in any of the normal recruits, and he's not in the transporter patterns. So at the moment, the only chance to get Badgey shards is the support refinery, and here the Cerritos refinery. As you see, that's where you can get Lower Decks officers. You see them on the picture. I cannot go inside there now because I need to wait another 5 hours, but it's not that important what else is in there. But there you have a chance to get Badgey shards. And as I said, sometimes in events, I think, I don't know if I saw it correctly, but I think he was in the Thaleron event as well, but I'm not so sure about that anymore. But from time to time, I see him in events. He even appeared in some Officer Flash pass recently. So those are the ways. But with the normal recruit stuff, you will have a problem with getting him, because the Discovery only has Discovery. The mission key recruits do have Tandy, but she's an epic officer, but there is no Badgey either. In the Ultra recruit, there is no Badgey as far as I know, because they only are rares. In the premium, I can't remember that I've seen him there. So, and the standard, of course, not. So it's quite hard to get him. But once you get him, if you get the chance to have him early in the game as your first Lower Decks officer, because he doesn't need too many shards, then he will be a great addition. That's what I felt, at least when I got him in the first place, because all the other officers are usually used below deck at that time. Of course, nobody of them had below deck abilities. They gave power to my ship, but they didn't have additional abilities. And if you have no other than Badgey, or just have Badgey and Boimler, for example, which were the early ones, then he is quite helpful, especially if you are grinding and fighting. So for players in the early stages, when you get Badgey early, he can be a very helpful officer. Now, as I said, I usually don't use him anymore, except for the occasional away team. But I've got a lot of officers, so that's a difference to people who have started playing the game not that long ago. But let me know what you feel about Badgey. If you have him and use him, I know that I have viewers that are playing for quite a long time. And so I'm also interested in your view of the officers that I'm talking about as well. And if you have questions or video requests, please also write a comment under the videos. You know that I always like to read them, and I try to answer all the questions when I can. And if you just want to say hi and where you're from, you know I'm a curious guy and like to know where my viewers are coming from. And I know they are from all over the planet, and so that's even more interesting. And if you want to see another video right now, the next one is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.